are my 6 predictions for the 2024 U.S. selection. And yes, I'm calling it a selection for reasons that I explained in my last TikTok video. So if you didn't see it, check it out. But I gotta say, for any moderators, this is for entertainment purposes only. It is based on astrology, so have fun with it. But those of you who want to know even greater detail, please know that this is really the Cliff Notes version of a full-length video that I put out with my daughter, who is also an astrologer. We put it out on Rumble. Prediction number 1. Things that are being done in the darkness around the time of this selection on November 5th will likely come out, be exposed, and revealed by May 12th, 2025, when we have a full moon in Scorpio. The new moon is on the 1st. So what's happening around the 1st and over the next 6 months is opening up a cycle having to do with secrets being seeded. This time frame is really a precursor for major shift, major changes coming in 2025, specifically 6 months from now, when we get into, spring, summer of 2025. There's a lot of changes going on astrologically, big changes that foretell a time of things coming out, us finally getting clarity after having been in a bit of a fog between now and then. So if things are not clear, you can run, but you can't hide from the truth. And that brings me to prediction number 2. The propaganda machine and the ministries of truth that are seeking to conduct censorship on supposed misinformation are going to be in full effect, full force during this time frame. So be on the lookout for that. Understand that what you see is probably not what you get when we're talking about anything information-based, anything having to do with the media, social media, anything having to do with documentation, ballots. There is a lot of energy around the time of this selection. Saturn and Neptune in Pisces in the United States natal 3rd house, mucking up and bringing heavy karma to lies and delusion pertaining to voting polls and information that's being communicated right down to the local level. It could bring a lot of re-examining duplicitous information coming out of these 6th house areas of life, having to do with maybe poll workers. We are looking at energies there that could be associated with evasiveness, duplicity. You better believe there's lies and deception going on right now. There's a lot that's not clear. And for many Americans, we're probably going to be in a bit of a fog over the next 6 months that will gradually lift in our day-to-day lives, especially concerning the lies and the deception that's going on in the media, and yes, with government people concerning information, monetary matters. But the good news is that the truth will definitely be coming out. We're seeing things become a lot more clear as Saturn and Neptune get out of Pisces next spring. And then we have Pluto and Uranus moving into air signs. So if they think they're getting away with anything, buckle up. Not for long, because the time is a-ticking. Prediction number 3. People are voting with their pocketbooks this election. And you can see this with all the money issues getting lit up in the United States natal chart. The money house, the 2nd and 8th, are forming an opposition of 2 malefics that are like duking it out in these money houses. So the people are definitely feeling it in their value system, in their pocketbook. And this is while Chiron is in Aries in our natal 4th house. We're having a Chiron return as we're having a Pluto return in that 2nd house, money house again. So we are definitely getting triggered at a pain point that is quite exquisite. It is hitting close to home. And when you add to that Uranus being in Taurus for, recent years in our 6th house, everyday life, we are definitely feeling like things are not stable, things are not secure. We're feeling our entire value system is being upended and confronted. And it's quite potent with these malefics in the money houses at final degrees. So something is hitting a breaking point. It's reaching culmination. And I think people have just hit their limits. And this is why you see people showing up more fervently than ever before because they are feeling it here at home. They're feeling it in their homes. They're feeling it right down to their pocketbook. This brings me to prediction number 4. Americans are showing up to voting booths in overwhelming force with a presence that's unprecedented. We have people showing up who are first-time voters. They've lived their entire lives. They could be 50, 60 years old, never voted before. You have communities like the Amish who historically do not get involved in politics. They are showing up like never before. And why is this happening? Well, yes, probably because of my last prediction I made. They're feeling it in their values systems, the monetary system. But also, I want to warn you, the energy, particularly in the couple days leading up to this election, are getting increasingly aggressive. And so if I were you, if you see this video quick enough, do early voting as soon as possible, because I could see the date like as early as Sunday the 3rd of November, the aggression starts ramping up. And by the 5th election day, it is really potent. I mean, this whole thing about too big to rig is really happening, people. It really is. But there's a warning here. Things could really pop off in a big way. Number one, because as strong of a force as people are showing in this election, the authorities are pushing back just as hard. And with Pluto and Capricorn at this time, briefly, right? Second half of this month's going to be a different story. But at this time, the power seems to be in the hands of the authorities, and it could get really dicey. Why are people so pissed off, you might ask? Well, that brings me to prediction number 6. People are increasingly pissed off about Kamala Harris, and this current administration is being purged. And I'm basing that on the astrology. We have Black Moon Lilith in Libra, which is Kamala Harris's sign. Side note, I'm making a prediction video about her as well. For those of you who want to know, make sure you're following me and I'll let you know when it's released. I'm editing it now. Not only is Black Moon Lilith in her sign, which is like the bad bitch of the zodiac, it brings out a lot of bitchiness and rebellion in the sign of Libra, her sun sign, but the South Node is there as well, which is purging, releasing of something having to do with Libra or all things Libra. And it's in the United States natal 10th house, which has to do with the government, corporations, status. The current administration, it's being released. People are pissed off about it. My 6th and final prediction is that the second half of November is going to be our highest chance of civil unrest, violence. It's going to get very spicy the second half of November. And this is because we have a full moon in Taurus on the 15th, leading up to the 19th, with Pluto going into Aquarius, power returning back to the people. And this is coming off of that lunation where we're having to release something having to do with the monetary system, our values, with things being unstable and insecure. And this is also at a time when Leo will be at 0 degrees in Mars, super potent and super aggressive. And I do want to warn you and remind you that recent legislation has been passed authorizing the authorities to take lethal force against U.S. citizens. So they're kind of telling you their plans. My advice, try to vote early. You do not want to give them any reason to declare martial law. They're arguably looking for that, because in the event of martial law, civil unrest, they could suspend the election. And so keep it chill if you can, but it is going to be difficult with this energy.